Welcome back, everybody. Sorry it's been so long since the last video. Just took a little breather for a while. Yeah, just took a little vacation from art, photography, everything, really. But I am back, and I've got a fun little tutorial for you today. We are going to be show you how to create a freehand tileable texture or displacement map inside ZBrush. As you can see here, this texture was applied to a basic cylinder and then just deformed around just a little bit. But this texture down here is driving all the displacement, and I'm going to show you how to create that. And as you can see, it's all tileable. I'll show you a bigger version of it here. As you can see, here's the texture itself that was driving it. Really cool, easy technique for you to do inside ZBrush. It doesn't really matter if you're in 4R8 or previous versions. You should be able to do this at least within the Zbrush 4 series. So even if you haven't updated recently, you should be able to do this. So let us hop into ZBrush, and I will show you how to create this little doohickey or gizmo or whatever you want to call it. It's super easy. So, at least for me. Let's go ahead and start with a plain 3D. We're going to drag him out real fast. Hit T for edit. And go ahead and make a polymesh 3D. Now he is editable and everything. Pull up polyframe there and you can see what we have here. I haven't changed any of the settings for them or divided them or anything. Go ahead and open up Subtool, and we're going to make a couple duplicates of it. We're going to make our first duplicate there. If you hold down Shift and open up a menu, it'll keep them both open instead of auto closing. What we want to do with this first duplicate here is to offset him. He's already set up on X by default. We're going to move him in the -100, moved him halfway over. Just repeat to active and then move him all the way over now. Go back to your original. We're going to duplicate again. And go back down and we're going to offset him in the positive direction. Repeat to active. There we go. Now we got 3 tiles there. Go back up to subtools. We'll go up to the top one real fast, and what we want to do is merge down. It will give you this little warning that it's undoable. Click always for now and merge down again. Alrighty, so now we have our first little tile there. Zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to repeat the process, but we're going to work in a different direction. So I'm going to go ahead and change the offset to Y and turn off X, and go ahead and hit duplicate again. And now we're going to do the offset. Now we're going to do in the negative first and repeat to active. Go back up. Let's find our original. We're going to offset as you already figured it. Whoops, Control Z. Need to duplicate first. There we go. Getting ahead of myself. Offset and repeat to active. Pretty easy steps so far. And go back up to the top subtool and then merge down, and then just do a Control W. That'll make it all one polygroup here. Alright, so you're asking, well, why am I doing this? Okay, well, there's a neat little feature inside ZBrush that you can say, like on this particular plane right here, that first one we did. If you go under your brushes, we'll double click that, open it up, go to brush, and go to your, no, not modifiers, curve. And if you go to wrap mode, by default, all your brushes are set to 0. If you set it to 1, and now you draw across it, as you can see, it is wrapping to the other side as you draw across it. So I draw here, whoop, and it goes all the way across like that. So let me cancel that. Control Z a couple times. So what I want to do is create this innermost plane here, which is all welded together. It should be welded together. Let me go back. Oh no, it's not going to allow me. Let me do geometry and just make sure all the points are welded together. When you merge down, you should have actually welded it, but now it should be welded together, so nothing will come apart. But what we want to do is create a nice frame down here in the center one to where we can do this. We can do this all the way, oh. Okay, I'm babbling a bit here. What we're trying to do is we're creating this little center frame here, and what we want to be able to do is to capture a tileable texture off of this center one here. But the problem we run into is right now, obviously, we don't have enough resolution. So what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to turn on symmetry by hitting X, activate Y symmetry, which is all under your transform here. As you can see down here, activate symmetry and all that. And what I want to do is isolate this real fast and create a couple additional polygroups to make this work even better. So we're going to capture this bit here. I want to leave about 3 tiles outside that original. What I'm trying to do is create a little bleed edge to where if some of the geometry is pulled in, there's still enough resolution to make this work. So I'm going to do a Control W here, and then I'm going to do Control Shift and Alt and get back to my original square here, Control W. I want to try to find a very unique polygroup here. There we go. Very distinctive colors that we could work with. Okay, so we set up polygroups, and what we're going to do is we're going to increase the resolution of the innermost 2 here. And if we do Control Shift and click on the outer polygroup and then click again, and then in our geometry panel here we click divide, as you can see it's just divided the inner 2. So I'm going to do it one more time and divide. Now each time you do this it takes slightly bit longer, but when you start getting into the millions it's going to go crazy. So I'm going to do this one more time, divide. As you can see, that innermost has got, let me click this, right now it's got like 93,000 active points, whereas the outside is only about 10,000, not even that, about 7,000 points. But the thing is that the brushes still work the same. Let me turn symmetry off, and we draw on here. It's still doing exactly what we want it to do. It's still tiling, but with a reduced resolution out here because we don't need this information out here, but we need that extra square to make this little trick work. Okay, so let me Control Z there. Instead of dividing this up in the millions, I've already done it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just load a new tool that I already have, Demo Tile. Exact same configuration, except we're at almost 6 million polygons. So I'm going to turn off line here and go to Subtool, and I want to do Document. We're going to change it, turn off Pro. We're going to do 2048 by 2048. Resize, yes. I'm going to do Control N. And I am going to close that for a moment here. Do AA half and then zoom out until our borders are all visible. I'm going to drag in the tile again and T for edit. Okay. And now what I want to do, I'm going to append just another plain 3D, nothing fancy, just another one. Just something that I can frame up my border with once I start manipulating the demo tile. So I'm just going to rename him Frame, just so I know which one I'm clicking on here. I'm going to go ahead, just save him out real quick, just so I don't have to do it all over again. And I'll have this available for you on my Gumroad, so you can definitely go grab it from there. And then maybe a couple example textures here that we're fixing to make. All right, so I got my frame. I'm going to turn solo on and then hit frame, and boom, there we go. Now we just click back on demo tile, and there we go. We have our original almost 6 million polygon model, or point model. And I'm going to turn off X for my symmetry, and we're going to start drawing here. I'm going to open up my brush palette here, and good advice is kind of go through the brushes that you think you're going to want to use. So I've already got standard set up with wrap mode. I'm going to pick, I'm going to do a spiral, make sure wrap mode is on. Okay, I'm going to go to, I think I'm going to do a trim dynamic, show you a little fun thing to do with him. And then I'm going to load up my smooth brush, because when you get into super high resolution, smooth really isn't that effective. So we're going to get into smooth stronger. And then skip. And you won't see it right away because it's part of your shift and then click. So if you hold down shift, it'll bring up its properties. And click him to wrap. Okay, he's set up for wrap. And I'm just going to go back through everybody. Trim, he's good. And standard, he's good. Okay, cool. So let's start doing some modeling here, or yeah, modeling. All right, so I'm going to just start drawing some wavy lines through here. As you can see, we are wrapping quite nicely. I'm going to change up the size here. Everything should be coming along just fine. Looks like everything's tiling correctly. Change the size back down. Just add some variations here. Yeah, I mean, you could do a bunch of different little things here. I'm kind of doing kind of a, maybe more of an organic, biomechanical type thing is what I'm working on. But you could do things like bricks and mortar, and I mean, a bunch of stuff. It's really entirely up to you. And if you hold over the material there, you can see what our tiled thing looks like. So, but we're only looking at the center of it. All right, so let's go to spiral. And I want to show you something real quick where that bleed edge comes into effect. So I'm going to get like right about here. And as you notice, there's my bleed edge. And so that's going to help us, it's still got the same resolution as this, so it's going to look really good. So, but one thing I want you to watch out for is if you get it really big and you start tiling in, I'm going to keep on going until it gets crazy. And not crazy enough. Let me get a little closer. As you can see, now you're getting into this part right here, which you want to be careful of. So you don't want to see that low res stuff there, because it's going to be, yeah, it's just going to be ugly. So I'm going to Control Z that. So just be careful when you're using things like spiral and move and stuff like that when you're dragging off the canvas. So let's go ahead and get some more spiraling done here. I'm gonna, if you hold down Alt, it'll spin the opposite direction. I want to stay closer to the edge because so we get the tiling effect going really good. But everything's already nice and tiled anyways. Yeah, maybe raise them up just a little. Get rid of some of the sharp edges here with the smooth. Even smooth stronger, even at this level, is still takes quite a bit to get it to smooth. All right, so let's do just a little bit more here, and then we'll add all the fun details with the trim dynamic. A little bit more. Oops, see, went too far. There we go. And one right there. Okay, so let me go over to my trim dynamic, make sure that wrap mode's still on, and we're hunky-dory there. I may change the focal shift down just a little bit, and I'm going to plug in an alpha. I'm going to do alpha 07 and turn the draw size down. I'm going to try to follow some of these contours here. And maybe let me turn up the intensity a little bit. Size. And we'll make some small ones here. All right, so let's add a different stroke to it. Let's do a spray. Get a little more randomization there. Now we're getting some really cool effects going on here. I don't know if it's like a coral or something like that. Add a couple small spots here and there. Maybe turn down the intensity a little bit. Bring up the draw size. Pretty cool. Let me turn off polyfill now and switch them over to just a regular basic material, and we can get a sense of what it's going to look like. May dial back some of the heavy crevices there. And this will work with almost all your brushes. I haven't tried it with insert mesh. I'm not sure. I don't even really want to tackle that just yet. Let me try. This will work with your vector displacement brushes. So let's bring in like the chisel creature here. Just got to make sure wrap mode is turned to 1. You can grab the scale one here. And you can drag out this vector displacement. As you can see, it displaced it nicely. So I don't know if I want to put scales on here or not, because it just doesn't look right. But what else? I think that's about it. Let's go ahead and do a test and see if how well this works. Let us go to alpha. I got them over here. So alpha, and go down to transfer, and you do a grab dock, and click Grab Dock. And here's our texture here. I am going to go ahead and export it, and we'll call this demo sample. As you can see, I've done this a few times already, just testing things out. So what I want to do real fast, you don't have to do it this way, but I like to go into Photoshop real fast, and I want to double check it. So let's open up Photoshop and we'll double check our texture. Okay, here we are in Photoshop there. And as you can see, here's our texture, and super fast way to check it is just go to Filter, and I know it's a 2K texture, so I know the size, so just go to Offset. Oops, cancel, hold on. Somehow I made a duplicate, weird. Alright, let's go to Filter, Other, Offset. And it's set to 1024 by 1024, and as you can see, there's no tile line. How cool is that? So we've got that put to bed there, so we know our texture's good. And if it's ever off, or like one side has just a higher value, you may check and make sure that you weren't accidentally turned just a little bit. As you can see, I'm rotating the model. And that's when you just get a hold of this guy, frame him out, use Shift to constrain it, and then frame him back up, and then you should be okay. So let's play with that texture real quick that we just created. So I'm going to go to Tool, I'm going to go to Cylinder 3D. I like using primitives just because they've already got a UV built into it. So I'm going to show you how I made that weird tentacle looking little thing at the beginning of the video. So let me see, let me zoom in here, close you up for the time being. And we'll make polymesh here. I'm going to change back to standard. And let's go ahead, turn a polyfill, hit that line again. There we go. I'm going to do Control, Shift, Alt, and then drag and select that center pole. So this way I just have the outer. And then go to Geometry, and we're just going to delete Hidden. And if you go down to Visibility, not Visibility, where is it? Got all my UI here, so I always got to remember where I display. There we go, click double, and now we can see the inside. Alright, cool. So there is our basic little cylinder there. Let's go to Surface, let's go to Noise, click at the UV, let's get a little different angle here, frame them up, and go ahead and click on your alpha. Let's go, what did I call it? Demo sample. There it is. Let's go ahead and turn off mix basic noise, flip HV, and then crank up your strength. And there we go. There's our texture on there. Now, if you want, what I did with that original one that you saw, I actually reduced the scale. And if you drag it by hand, you run into tiling issues because of the, well, maybe you don't. Hold on. Let me see if that works. I don't know. I'm going to turn dynamic on, smooth. Let's turn you off. See, maybe you won't have a tiling issue there. Yeah, you will. There's the seam. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So you'll run into that tiling issue there, especially if you do it by hand on the alpha scale. So bring it back to 1, but if you just remember this, always divide it by 2. So if we want to divide it by 2, that would equal 0.5. And now if we spin it around, there's no tiling problems. So I think I had him at 0.25. There we go. Because we're going to stretch him out. So click OK. There we go. No tiling issues now. Okay, so let's see. We'll just do a quick BPR, see how he looks, and then I'll show you how to quickly deform him. Now, when I deform him, I'm actually going to do it in 4R8, so you won't be able to do that in any other version, at least the way I'm fixing to do it. Not too bad. Might need to displace it a little better, maybe turn relative off. That might give it a better displacement, and maybe way too much. Let me see. BPR again. I like to BPR my surface noise, just test it out before I ever apply it. It's a good habit to get into. Yeah, that's a little ridiculous there. Let's go ahead and dial him back, maybe 0.35. Okay, another quick test render. All right, I think I'll be okay with that. Once we stretch him out a bit here, he's not going to look so bad. All right, so we're going to zoom him out, and before we do anything, and when I was doing that dynamic, that's actually in dynamic subdivision right here. Sorry, I'm using my UI here, force of habit. Let's see. Let's go to click W, pull up that menu here. Let's get a front look at him. We'll click on that little gear icon right there. Do bend curve. I want to change the orientation to 2, which 2 is on the Y axis. Smoothness up to 1. And curve resolution, we'll just keep it simple for now. We can always increase it here. Okay, so now we've got 3 points to manipulate, and all you have to do now is just start dragging. You can drag them out and deform them in whatever shape you want. You can rotate it around and adjust it. And then we can also, let's find that curve resolution again. There it is. You can actually add a couple extra points now that you got the basic curve. Move things around. You can actually apply a twist to it. On the ends, you can apply a scale. Let's see if I can get a hold of it there. You can thin them out, make it into some weird little tentacle. Twist, see, scale. There we go. Crazy looking tentacle. Okay, let me just manipulate this a couple more times here, and let's take a look. We'll do, just go back to draw. Find a interesting angle here. It's still just in a preview mode with the surface noise. Let's render it and see what it looks like. Now it's applied all that for the render preview. We could probably actually go back to edit, and we could probably just go ahead and bump it back up to 5, and it should be alright. It's not so compressed anymore. Do another, let me frame them up here. Very cool. Let's see, I got standard. Let me see. Yeah, smooth strong is really doing interesting things with that, but that's all right. All right, so we say we like that position. We can go ahead and just go to geometry, apply the dynamic, and we go to convert BPR, and that'll take that surface noise and apply it to the mesh. And watch the poly count, and it bumped it up to 7 million. And now all that detail from our Fast and Furious texture map that we created, or displacement map, is now applied to our model. Quick, cool, organic model in no time. And I don't know. The possibilities are endless with that little texture technique there. Actually thinking about making a plugin based on it, be similar to my Greeble generator. And I don't know, let me know if you guys might be interested in that, if that's something you might think would be kind of cool to have, and I'll work on it. If not, I probably won't do it. So otherwise, that is it for today. Have fun exploring that. Definitely share some of your thoughts and ideas and some of your creations from it. A lot of cool things you could do with it. All these cool textures you can apply to your models or environments. And that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and smash that like there and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And go check out all the free goodies over on my Gumroad page, and we will catch you in the next video. You guys have a good day.